Working at a daycare gives you a very strange view of children. I live in the South, so the stereotype of screaming children in Walmart isn't part of a redneck joke. It's literally just what happens when you go to Walmart. Without a ton of close family, those kids were, for the longest time, the only children I had exposure to, so my views of them were somewhat negative. But my grad school told me the only financial aid I could get was an assistantship working at the on-campus daycare. So I was going to have a new experience with them whether I wanted to or not. And I have had many experiences with them. Life-altering and strange experiences that cast a great doubt in my mind as to whether this world is going to exist when these people become voters. But I digress. This is about one child in particular. I'll go ahead and call him Thomas. Thomas was about 4 years old at the time this happened, and he was a little, special. I don't mean he was special needs, as the current euphemism puts it. I've met those kids, and they're different. Some of you have kids who are just, special. You don't realize it because your children are completely different people around you than they are around their friends. You're still convinced that your kids are going to grow up to be astronauts or scientists, but I know within minutes of meeting them at age 6 that they're going to be spending a large part of their adult lives performing some kind of service at truck stops. But again, I digress. Thomas was special. Thomas's thing was that he simply refused to sleep. Some of you are parents and are nodding your heads because, you know that nature of children. But it's a lot stranger than you think. Those of you with children have 1, 2, maybe 3 kids, all of different ages. During nap time with Thomas's group, I have 40 children, none of whom have any genetically based reason to obey me, none of whom I can punish in any meaningful way, all of whom have friends who will back whatever insanity they have in mind. During nap time, the room becomes a prison, and I'm the warden. I have some experience with the behavior of children of this age. There are children who dislike sleeping. There are children who prefer not to sleep until they choose the time and the place. But people who work at daycares become experts in swooping in and physically incapacitating the children in the fastest possible time frame. And we're damn good at it. That's what nap time is if you look at it clinically. Sensory deprivation, turning off the lights, playing music to drown out snoring, that sort of thing. Combined with hypnosis, like rubbing their backs. Some kids fall asleep more easily than others. But if you put in the time, they all go out eventually. Except Thomas. Other kids who didn't sleep would just stare plaintively at the adult until they got embarrassed and walked away, trying again later. Thomas, though, was determined to fake sleep until you left, feeling satisfied at a job well done. As soon as you walk back, there he is, staring at you. Look, I know how to fake sleep, but I'm in my 20s. This kid is 4 years old, and he is a master at the craft. He knows just how much to snore and when. He knows how to slow his breathing down to give off that sleeping demeanor. He knows how far to open his eyelids to see if the coast is clear, and he knows how to do all of this without actually falling asleep. The other teachers and I talked about it. What the hell is going on with this kid that he learned how to do this as young as he is? But I decided it was just too weird not to experiment with. I figure If you look at the kid for long enough, he'll keep his eyes closed and eventually he'll fall asleep. Has to work, right? So, that's what I do at nighttime. Everywhere I go in the room, I keep my eyes on the kid. He sees me looking, lays down and closes his eyes. I sit across from him and stare. Nothing I do really requires a ton of attention, so I just keep my eyes on him wherever I go. And every few seconds, the same dance. Eyelids flutter, eyelids raise, eyes glance slowly upward. Eyes meet mine, eyes clamp shut. Pause. Eyelids flutter. And, this keeps going on for about 20 minutes. I notice something weird about his breathing, and I think, he's losing his cool, and I figure I'm about to win this round. Then, he starts crying. "Quit looking!" he wails. "Quit looking! Quit looking!" Shit! Look, you might think it's an asshole move to get into a staring contest with a 4-year-old. Let me just say that in my shoes, you might do the same thing. After a long talk with my supervisor and Thomas's parents, we agree that, yes, Thomas's ability to pretend to sleep was just uncanny, but no, there would not be any further experimentation on the front, as it's not important enough to emotionally traumatize a preschooler over the subject. He had been seeing a therapist, and he kept mentioning nightmares about someone staring at him. Just constantly staring. My immediate thought was, how can a kid who doesn't sleep have nightmares? Nevertheless, I agreed to knock it the hell off and the matter was dropped. Thank God I have a tolerant boss. So, a day or so ago, I walk in while they're doodling with crowns. I glance over the table and see a bevy of wonderful, psychologically fascinating exhibits. Kids taller than one parent, kids being rained on, kids shooting various animals. And then, I landed on Thomas's. A window and a face. I asked another principal in the room, and she said all of his drawings were always the same. A window and a face. I saw something that looked like crayon on the other side of the sheet, so I flipped it over. It keeps looking. It won't quit looking.